Everybody must have come across the term inflation and the impact it has on our earnings and investments. But what exactly do we mean by the term inflation? Is it just the rise in prices of a few goods, or is it the rise in prices of the goods across the board? Well, speaking in the strictest economic sense, the term inflation refers to an increase in the prices of all goods and services, not just one or a few goods. If there is just a rise in prices of a few goods or services, the actual economic term is just price rise, not inflation. So how is inflation calculated? And what are the parameters of ascertaining inflation in our country? There are two indices to account for inflation in our country. One is WPI, that is Wholesale Price Index, and the other is the CPI, that is Consumer Price Index. Now let us look at these two terms separately. WPI. It is an index that tracks the change in price and inflation of the products sold at wholesale rates or before reaching the consumers. The WPI tracks the price rate fixed between two types of entities. It is created for directly buying and selling goods in a bulk quantity. When a wholesaler sells large quantities of any product, the WPI calculates its average change in price. This index examines the difference in the product prices at the prescribed level before it actually reaches a certain level. The WPI is released every 14th of the month, so it has a window of 2 weeks in between. It publishes the data collected from manufacturing units and institutions across the country. WPI is the starting point for determining the growth of the goods prices until it reaches the consumer. The Office of Economic Advisors of the Ministry of Commerce publishes this index. There are three main categories of goods covered by this index, which are manufactured goods, which include chemicals, apparel, textiles, primary products, food and non-food articles, and fuel and power, which includes gasoline, petrol, and LPG. The Ministry of Commerce and Industry uses WPI to calculate the inflation rates in India till 2014. CPI. This is a price index that measures the average price of a basket of items over a given period of time. The CPI determines the average price paid by the customers to the merchants. The CPI includes necessities such as food, clothing, housing, and includes services like medical care, transportation, and education. CPI is a numerical estimate based on the rates of a selection of typical objects whose prices are collected on a regular basis. The CPI measures price fluctuations at the consumer level rather than the wholesale level. It measures changes in the price of a common basket of goods and services by comparing current prices to prices from the previous year's similar time. CPI is being used as an inflation indicator in India from 2014, replacing WPI. CPI indicates the inflation rate at the consumer level, which is a better indicator than the wholesale price index, which is WPI. CPI includes services such as medical care and education, which are not included in WPI. These services are essential to gauge the inflation rate in the country. This was all about the two broad indices used by the authorities to measure inflation in the country. One needs to be also mindful of the inflation factors while planning their financial goals. We hope you would like this new video. Thank you for watching.